Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Are you looking for a job currently? Are you struggling with getting responses to interviews and applying to jobs and not hearing anything back? Well, this conversation's for you. So I recently spoke with a client of mine who is struggling with exactly the same thing. I've attached that conversation here in full, and I hope that you find it useful. Thanks everyone.
So hi, how are you?
Doing well. Where are you calling from today?
Philadelphia.
Great, great. I'm in the Bay Area myself.
You look like you're in Japan though.
Yeah, well, I lived there for 10 years, so I like that background. But I'm
Ah,
definitely in the Bay Area right now.
that's great. That's great. Yeah, so um I wanted to talk to you. I'm so interested to hear from you. Wanted to talk to you because I cannot seem to be getting any interviews.
Okay.
Um and I know that according to my other mentors that my resume is on point and my portfolio is apparently on point. Um, but I just haven't been able to seem to break through. Um, and so my primary mentor Troy recommended that I speak with you.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you're experiencing that. First of all, that's frustrating for
Yeah.
sure. And I'll also share that you're definitely not alone. So that is also for sure. It's a weird time right now. So it's very easy to personalize the job search because for you it is intensely personal, right?
Hmm.
But there's also the big, macro pieces that are happening too in the economy that are actually more greatly impacting it than you yourself individually are, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Another simple way to say that is it's not always you, it's them.
Yeah.
Another way to say it. Um, so tell me, I'm looking at your LinkedIn right now. What are you like? What's your goal? What are you looking to do? Let's see if there's any gap there, first of all.
So I have I have 26 years. I don't put that in there. I say like 19 plus or something, but I have 26 years of experience.
Mhm.
And I started off as a graphic designer, just retail graphic designer. And I started my own business back in 2001. So I have kind of done it all. One of the perks of running your own business is that you get a lot of different clients and you get to get really experimental with your work. So I've kind of done every angle of the sales process all the way through the design process. And as I mature, I've become very much interested in data and just sort of like tracking um, with the performance of our work and trying to see like what's really resonating and what's not.
Mhm.
So as this person with this like depth of experience um, and this kind of interest in data, I'm looking for a place to be that is ideally nonprofit, but it can be for profit, but just working on something that I believe in and someplace where I get to kind of sit at that point of strategy and design. Um, so I have a lot of leadership experience. I have a lot of agency experience. After I stopped having my own business, I went and worked for companies. So I have a lot of that sort of institutional knowledge
Mhm.
too. So that's really where I'm going. Is if that sorry if that was too long. I'm trying to keep it succinct.
No, no, that's a good start. So if you were to put that into a simple title, what would that be?
Um, it has been like creative communications director
Mhm.
or like creative marketer. Um, it also can be creative director, art director, associate creative director because those people are also involved in the sales and the tracking and things like that. So it sort of just depends on the company.
Got it. Okay. So, and I may not be super familiar with those specific roles there, but so one thing just on the surface that it's not easy for me to connect is the data piece with that. So I'm hearing passionate about data, and I'm reading about your, sales funnel analysis, which is great. But whenever I hear the words creative and art, that doesn't that I don't mesh those together. Maybe that's just me, but I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, so I did not go to marketing school. However, it is my impression that like the best of the marketers are really data nerds.
For sure.
So that's kind of where there's also like an overlap with product management. So that's like when you're creating like an app or something and you're doing this similar thing to a marketer where you're like analyzing the market. You're really looking to see like who is this audience? What do they want? And you look at it from like the top down with lots of big, overarching numbers, things like, let's look at the demographics. Let's look at, big surveys, things like that. But then you're also kind of coming from the bottom up and you're looking at qualitative data where you're doing
Mhm.
interviews, A/B
Yeah.
testing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that I'm actually taking a class right now called data driven design.
Mhm.
And it's all about that intersection between the data and the design. And it's really a product focused class, but it can also apply, I think, to marketing quite easily.
Got it. That sounds super interesting, first of all. But beyond that, too, I think where I'm getting hung up is this creative word,
Uh huh.
right? Like, I wonder if you couldn't be just like marketing director or like marketing intelligence, something along those lines. Because when for marketing teams I've worked with, when I hear creative, I hear that that's like about content creation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus like the analysis of the funnel, the planning, the segmentation, all the things that I just heard you talk about.
Yeah,
That feels different to me, title wise.
it is. And the reason why I haven't ditched sometimes I do. It depends on the application.
Hmm.
Sometimes I do ditch that. But if you look at my website and you look at my portfolio, it's all imagery.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't have marketing chops. Like if you look at a marketing job that is purely marketing,
Hmm.
like the most creative thing that you're going to be doing is writing copy, and sometimes not even that, depending on the size of the place. But
Totally.
I would be looked at, I think, as more of a career switcher. And I think that people would say, like, marketing, okay. And then look at my website and be like, but she's a graphic designer, illustrator, content creator. That doesn't match.
Correct. I would
So,
agree with that assessment.
yeah,
Do you need to show them your website?
I do. And I have it actually here. Let me share it with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, at this market, I'm not even sure if they're looking at it, but
Well, that's what I mean. I don't think that they really probably are, right?
right.
And I think that they're looking on keywords and for direct matches.
Yeah, I'm only submitting things that I can get a 70% or higher match on
Mhm.
JobScan, um, which my mentors are telling me that's fine. So I should be getting calls at least, but I guess there's that many people applying.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that is the case. Like, there's just a lot of people in the system right now.
Yeah,
And so specifically, I think you'll find with roles like sales, like marketing, right, that there are many different flavors within that, as you know.
yeah,
So the negative part is you get a lot of people that are like marketing-esque, right? But they're
yes,
not the particular flavor that they want. So there's a lot of people just like throwing their resume in under marketing.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's see here. So I mean, I think this is great. Like visually, it looks awesome. Um, I think what's not clear about it to me looking at it is like again, like is it design? Like I'm having trouble putting it to a particular role, right?
Yeah.
So this is like the jack of all trades, master of none phrase. If you've heard of that, like
Yes.
like this looks awesome, but it's hard for me to say like, oh, she's our next X.
Right. Yes. So I the reason why this isn't way more targeted
Mhm.
is because of the roles that I've been applying for. Um, Let me see if there's a way. I think, no, I don't think you can see this. Hold on. This is the role. Okay. So this is the role that I am applying for today. And you'll have to click on the name of it, but it's because it comes up as a PDF. If I sent you the link directly to the PDF, I fear it won't work.
Okay.
Um,
So I see two roles there.
yeah, it's the managing communications associate.
Okay. Okay. Let me take a quick look at this here. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, would you like me to share my? I don't want to like bias. If you have, let me see if you have something more to share on it, and then I'll share my feedback on it.
Um, the reason why I'm excited about this one is because they need somebody who can do strategy, copywriting, and creative.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So that makes sense. So, I would not call you back on this one, and I can share why.
Okay.
And I just always give the raw feedback because we've only got limited time. So definitely like, with more time, I would be more diplomatic about it, but I think you can benefit from just hearing directly, the thinking.
Yes.
The reason why overqualified, your profile, the portfolio you sent me, let's see here, where it's a design leader, right? And then on your LinkedIn, it says director.
Yeah.
Right. So when I look at that role says associate. Like that's a junior support person generally, right? Or someone who's earlier in their career. So immediately I'm like, well, why would a director want this role?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm I'm yes, that makes total sense. It I think that in the sense of copywriting and marketing, I am the level of this job, but at the design side, I'm way above this job.
Hmm.
So I think that's why. But if I could change just a couple things to make it a little more, because I think it will be a challenging job for me.
Hmm.
Um, there's like leadership in here, like you've gotta be totally on point with your design, but then you also have to write like copy and particular voice. Like there's a lot that you're gonna have to do. So I think it will be perfect for me actually.
Hmm.
But if I could just do a couple tweaks to my LinkedIn to make this a lot less, make myself seem a lot less, because I don't want to look like I'm sea level. I'm not.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. Is with having run your own business, which is awesome. By the way, I really respect that. That's the hard part about coming out of that. Right, is because like technically, like what were you at your own business? You were the president, you were the CEO, you were the head of marketing, you were all of those things,
Yep.
right? And you have to be when you're running your own business. But when you translate it back into the corporate world, then they don't understand that. Like most, like 99% of people you are looking at these have never run their own business. They don't get it.
Right.
Right. So
Yep.
they just see director and they're like, well, why this says 4 years of experience? So she's got to have way more. She's a director.
Right. Yeah.
So
Which is
that
so funny because, yeah, like they want so much out of this person.
Oh, for sure. They always do, right? They want, call it an associate, but give it director-like responsibilities. That's what they
Yeah.
call ambition in the corporate world.
Interesting. Okay. So I really like this angle. Um, like kind of, I think that like it's interesting because as the owner of your own business, you're constantly like inflating yourself so that
Yep,
you seem a little bigger than you are because you want
totally.
people to give you big jobs.
Yep.
And like, yeah, so I'm kind of used to that, like, oh, well, what am I? I'm the CEO, you know?
Totally, totally. I'm a design leader and I've got all these experience. Like, yeah, you totally want this facade that you need to scaffold up.
Yeah.
I guess scaffolding is a better word than facade, but like you want to scaffold up that like you are bigger than you are so that you can become bigger over time,
Yeah.
right? That totally makes sense. But then you build it up so it's so big that like companies are like, well, no, like we can't hire. We need someone smaller.
Right. Okay, this is so interesting, and I will have to, like, go through and just, like, before I submit this application, just clean it up a little bit so that I don't seem like C-level or so high up that they can't
Yeah,
afford me.
yeah. And I think just like what I would recommend is like this job is a great example, but you can do it with others of like really critically like visualize who they're expecting in this role.
Yeah.
Right. So like when I look at this just quick glance, yeah, there's some stuff they want them to do. Okay, great. But the key ones are 4+ years of experience and then 3+ years of experience.
Uh-huh.
So to me, as a hiring manager for this, they're imagining someone who's like, come out of school, gotten their first job, had that for 4 or 5 years, and have used, Illustrator during that time. Right. Like this, I mean, the things they want them to do above that are more advanced, right? But the profile they've written here is exactly that as I read it.
Right. 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 And interestingly, when they had a series of questions that they asked,
Mhm.
and uh my answers are very much like, listen, I got a million years of experience. Don't
Yeah.
worry. I got this.
And that's the precise thing is that does worry me.
Yes.
Because I'm like, okay, well, great. Well, okay, let's say we hire her and she's amazing. Okay, awesome. Well, what is she gonna be happy in 3 months? Is
Right.
she gonna want to be a director in 3 months? Like, what about pay? What about all of those things?
Yes.
That makes me concerned.
Yep. And it would me too, actually. I don't want somebody to do a job for 3 months and then be bored.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. So it's like no one wants that kind of uncomfortable misalignment. Uh,
yes.
and today, especially people like you can say all you want, like, oh no, no, like I really do want this. I promise I do. They'll be
Yeah.
like, yeah, but there are other people that are this.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and they are this too, and they're hungry. So like why not go with them?
Yeah. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. So, do you think that there is an element of ageism in this, in the sense that they want this like rock star, but they want them to be 29?
I think it's not ageism in this case. I think it's like this is I'll just make up a word on the spot here. It's like experience-ism, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they just feel too overqualified.
Yeah.
The ageism would be like if they met you in person, right? And they're like, yeah, actually, no.
Right. Right.
Like
Yeah,
that
that
to
makes
me, it's
sense.
more like pure ageism there. But this is more it's like a fear of too experienced.
Yep. I get it. I mean, I actually was part of a hiring process at my last job where we rejected someone for being too experienced for this exact same reason.
Yes, so it's super common.
Yeah.
And so I think tactically, like what you can do about it, you mentioned some of the things, but think about like on your LinkedIn profile specifically, if you're going for director roles, great, keep it. But if not, you have to think about a way to wordsmith that
Mhm.
so that it doesn't, put people off. You could like strategic lead or like program leader or something that's like a little bit more ambiguous but
Yeah.
is slightly senior sounding, but not like, oh, they've got to be a director or else.
Yes. Okay. Right, because like you can say leadership, and that means I'm fine with leading 2 or 3 people.
Yep.
Director means like I got 3 teams.
3 teams of 15 people each.
Right. Right, right, right. Okay. Yeah, this is also me learning about the corporate world a little bit.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
because
They're like trigger words, right?
yep, right. People read into them in a way that I'm not necessarily familiar with.
Exactly, exactly. And then they're spending like a microsecond on reviewing these,
Yeah.
right? So like anything they see that's off like that, they're like, yeah, nope, nope.
Right.
They're just,
Yeah.
just pattern matching for the most part at that stage.
Yeah. All I want to do is get into the top like 30 or something, and then
Yep,
I can probably stand out. Okay.
totally. So that's the kind of framing that you need to reframe, is like, it's not, I have everything you've asked for and more beyond that,
Yep.
which sounds tempting but is scary for them. It's more like, yes, I tick all of these boxes. I do. Do I have 4 years experience in graphic design? Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. Just leave it at that.
Yes, exactly. You don't need it. You don't need to, like, in sales, they have this concept of like selling into the close. Like, salespeople do this when the customer has said yes, right? They've only asked for certain things and you've delivered them, and you go beyond that. You're like, yeah, and it does this and it does that. It's like, stop, just like
Right.
stop and then get the sale.
Right. Right. You've satisfied them.
Exactly,
They're
exactly.
saturated.
Yes,
Interesting. Selling into the close. Like they're not there anymore.
exactly. Like, they've already said yes, just move on. Right.
Okay. This is so interesting. Okay. I was wondering if that was the case. See, it's funny because in design world, I am very, very much mid-level.
Mhm.
But in a lot of these other things that I'm working towards, which is hilarious, I'm like, I seem very, very high level because I worked my way up on the design side. So this is good. This is like really good for me to think of, because up until now, I've been thinking of this marketing and communication side as something I need to like kind of work towards, as like I need to show that I am capable of doing these things, because I
Mhm.
don't have a lot of like tangible proof the way
Mhm.
that I have like, pictures of stuff that I've done. Like I don't have proof that I can do this. I just say I can do it. So it's cool to know like, wait, it's not that high of a mountain.
That's right. And I'll share too that, like, the experiences you have, like, don't get me wrong, they're valuable, right?
Sure.
But they're valuable for a different purpose. They're not the things that are going to get you hired. They're the things that are going to get you promoted after you join,
Right.
right? Because
Interesting.
that's where those come in. And it's like, oh, we hired her to be this, the managing communications associate. Great. 6 months, a year in, you've taken on other projects, you've shown more leadership, you've done things beyond this. Then it's like, they already know you. They're not thinking about, is she overqualified,
Right.
right? They're thinking like,
Right.
oh, we do have this other role open or more responsibility. Let's give that to her.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is great. And I can yeah, I just need to get there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So you have to, like you're it's a bit like a square peg round hole type of thing
Yep.
here. You just need to like shave down the edges and get it to be circular and get in to start.
Mhm. Yeah. 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 Okay. This is so helpful because I have been somewhat confused about the LinkedIn thing, because it's the most consistent thing that I know everyone's going to look at.
Mhm.
And also, I can't customize it.
Yep.
So it's really frustrating because there's such a kind of a wide range of like all these different personas that people want for this job.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
Yeah. So it's like hard. Like I have like a social justice focused resume. And then I also have like a very design focused resume that's like, okay, forget about all that social justice stuff. We're just going for design. And then I have other ones that are like really data focused.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is probably some more scope to customize the profile. I did work there for 6 years previously,
Oh,
at LinkedIn. So you can add content on there and you can add like causes you support. It may not be, perfectly customizable, but probably can do a bit more if you want to combine some of those.
that is interesting because it hadn't even really occurred to me to add causes. So I saw that it's down there. And I just was like, I don't think people are going to get that far. I don't think people care. But if somebody's searching,
If they're searching for those, and certainly like that's going to be the first thing they look at versus like deep diving into a resume,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like LinkedIn is more like, do I want to spend the time? wanting to learn more. The
Mm-hmm.
resume is like, I've already decided that. Now I want to like deep dive and like confirm what I'm already thinking versus make a decision.
Right. Okay. Right. So if I'm not showing up on LinkedIn, I'm not getting past that at all.
Correct. Correct. It would be like the equivalent of you have an amazing storefront that you've put a lot of effort into, but you're not showing up in Google.
Right.
Right. It would be very hard to find you or Yelp or any other platform. Right.
Right. Right. You're literally only getting like the 3 people that walk by a day.
Exactly. And they might be like, wow, this is amazing, but like it's a very small number.
Mm-hmm. And they're not your target
Yep.
audience. And yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
yes. Okay. So this is really interesting.
And
Okay.
yeah, so you've got your link to your let's see here. Do this here. Yeah, so you got your portfolio linked up there. That's good.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, you can add a couple of other things on there as well. You know, like brand wise, if you want to put some of your designs in the featured area on LinkedIn, I think that can be helpful.
Oh,
So it doesn't have to be just one thing. Like I haven't updated mine in a while, but like you can put, I had like a couple of videos linked on mine, things like
yeah.
that.
Yes. Oh, that's great. I mean, I have seen other people do that, and I was worried about like watering it down or getting too specific, but this makes sense. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so I would do that, and yeah, and just put a couple of the causes on there, and that ticks the social justice box
Yep.
there, and then just tweak the titling a little bit, and I think that you are in a good spot.
Thank you so much. This is really helpful. It,
Cool.
I really, this is a totally new way of looking at things. And every time I talk to one of you guys, I feel this way. I'm so glad I have you.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I'm glad to hear it was useful. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. And I hope you have a great day.
Awesome. You too.